Welcome back to the Snod Pod with John Snodgrass, your mortgage resource, where we're talking real estate, mortgages, and beyond. Today, I've got Paul Wolfgramm, building inspector for the City of Wauwatosa here. Paul, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, hey, I've been really looking forward to chatting with a building inspector, so super pumped about this episode. Well, first, let's just start with, how did you get to become, building inspector at Wauwatosa, and what were you doing before?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. So just a little bit of background about myself. I graduated from the Milwaukee School of Engineering with a degree in construction management. While I was going to Milwaukee School of Engineering, I also was in the local Marine Reserves, our Fox unit here, 224. So I was infantry Marine. I was actually deployed to Iraq 2007, 2008. After I graduated from MSOE, I got a job with J.P. Cullen as a general contractor. A lot of my work was as a site engineer on various hospital projects that they were working on. After that, I moved to be a building inspector with the City of Milwaukee, and I was there for 6 years. And now for the last 2 years, I've been a building inspector with the City of Wauwatosa.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, first, thanks for your service.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned, off camera, mainly real estate podcast here. So I got a lot of questions geared, some coming from some realtors I work with. But yeah, jumping right into it, probably one of the biggest things that realtors and buyers are running into is they're having to waive inspections. And so any advice on how they should be dealing with when a seller discloses they didn't pull permits, but they, did a basement renovation, what should they be doing up front, or what do you recommend?
Sure. I know in the white hot real estate market that we've been experiencing, especially here locally the last couple of years, a lot of times homes have been sold without inspection. I know everyone's trying to get into their home. I would tell people to exercise extreme caution if they're going to waive that home inspection, because you just really don't know what you're going to get. If there is the case in general where that there was work that was pulled without a permit, it does certainly happen. But the best recourse is to apply for the permit, provide drawings on what happened, get that permit, building, plumbing, electrical permit in hand, call for an inspection. There probably will need to be some destructive investigation to verify the work that was done. And assuming the sample destructive investigation reveals that the work was done properly, then you'll be able to have the confidence that you had a permit and the permit was closed out.
Okay. Question for you. So I work with a bunch of contractors, but a general contractor said sometimes he'll give the client the option of, hey, here's the benefits of pulling permits. Obviously, all their work is getting double checked by you. And hey, here's, the pros of maybe not doing a permit, maybe they don't need it. But he said that what he'll do is he will film and take pictures of everything he's doing if the client decides not to pull permits. Can you retroactively get a permit if you were taking pictures or filming your work?
Sure. So I think that building inspectors we recognize that the owners are clients. And we pull permits, and permits are required in the City of Wauwatosa before you begin work. So I would never be able to say just film your work or take some pictures and then see what happens down the road. I mean, that's not the right course of action legally for what's required by our city ordinances. I think that there's a lot of benefits to pulling a permit. I would be cautious of contractors who are willing to do work that requires permit that they don't want to pull a permit. I guess I'd ask, why don't you want to pull a permit? Yeah. Even just basic things like having that second set of eyes, knowing that someone is going to come out here and take a look at that work, that can give you the confidence as the owner that the work is being done correctly. And inspectors, we have a lot more flexibility of working with you if you go through the permitting process on the front end, or if you apply for a permit, submit plans, and then call for inspection. We have a lot more ability to work with you. When the conversation is kind of the backwards of that, of, hey, I've done everything already, and here's the final product. Well, I don't have X-ray vision. I can't come through and do those inspections. So it's really difficult for me then as an inspector to be able to go through and improve your projects. I'm really put in a difficult position then. Got it.
So I mean, that kind of leads me down the road of DIYers. I mean, with all these TV shows, a lot of people are doing it. Bathroom renovations on their own and whatnot. Are you there? Like, if will you get calls from people like that are saying, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this myself," and are you helping guide, or is that part of your job? Or
Oh, sure. So in the city of Wauwatosa, individuals who own and occupy the house can pull their own building permit.
okay,
So you'll still go through the same process. You'll still submit plans. You'll still apply for a permit. You'll still receive your inspections. But as long as you're the owner and the occupant of the property, you can pull your own building permit in the city of Wauwatosa.
okay, so pulling their own permits, can they reach out to you and say, "Hey, Paul, what if they like get behind the walls and they see something, issues with plumbing? Can they lean on you for help or questions?" Or I'm sure you got a lot of stuff going on, but just curious.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm only talking about building permits that homeowners can pull their own building permits.
Got it.
Plumbing and electrical would still need licensed contractors to
Okay.
pull their own permits.
Okay.
And also if you're the owner, there's a homeowner's cautionary statement that you'll need to sign, just recognizing that, hey, I'm not using the benefits of a licensed contractor for this work.
Yeah.
But if you're following the process and once you have the permit, my ability to come on site and help you through this process is much greater than if you just do everything, close everything up, and then they're calling me on the back end. My ability to help you or work with you is much limited at that point.
Okay. So it sounds like you're willing to help out a little bit if there's some questions.
Oh,
Is that
absolutely.
fair to say? Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even if you're just, I get phone calls all the time. Hey, I'm thinking about finishing off my second floor. What code things should I be considering?
Okay. And then boom, it's a couple-minute conversation. Hey, this is, and jot down notes. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got it. Because for some reason I was just thinking like, you would just say, "Hey, look up the code yourself," or something.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah, I certainly try to provide both ends. I'll try to provide just a very simple answer, but I'll also provide that code reference so that if you want to go and dig into the details, that you have that code reference.
Okay, well that's
for yourself.
really, that's awesome that you're doing that, and pointing people in the right direction, and giving a little bit of information when needed. So question for you on what are the fines if you don't pull a permit and, city finds out about it, or, it comes up when you're trying to sell and the buyer wants to deal with it?
Sure. So it varies by municipality. In the city of Milwaukee, if you start work without a permit, you have to pay 4 times the permit fee when you come to get the permit. In the city of Wauwatosa, you have to pay twice the permit fee when you get that permit.
So really, okay, depending on the municipality, upwards of 4 times in Milwaukee. Wow.
Yeah, that's correct. And really, I think that the difficult part, again, from my perspective as a building inspector, is that I get a phone call. Hey, Paul, we pulled a permit here. We did this work. It's completely done. I need you to come out and inspect the work. And by the way, we're closing on Tuesday. Like, Now everybody's it's a very difficult and stressful situation. The seller's trying to get out, the buyer's trying to get in, and I'm coming out there with the plumbing and the electrical inspector, and we're cutting holes in the wall and we don't know what we're going to find. So it's a very stressful situation. It's difficult then to get contractors we need a contract out here right now to do this work, and we don't know what it's going to be. Yeah. So that time crunch, in addition to, hey, this is the code requirements, the city ordinances that we've set up here to be able to establish buildings that are safe and maintain property values in the city.
So don't. I think that's fair. Hey, don't expect you, Paul, to drop everything just because you're closing on Tuesday, and it's
right. Yeah, and we try to work with people as best we can. But when the phone call is, hey, I didn't pull any permits, I did all this work, I have a permit now, and I need you to come out and improve it like tomorrow. Yeah, it's really difficult for me as an inspector. You're not giving me much wiggle room to be able to help you.
Okay. Going back to the fines, like, I guess what does, if you give me an example of a permit, like what are the prices or the price range of a permit?
Sure. So it depends on the scope of work that you're doing.
Okay.
If it's an addition or you're building outside of the footprint, it's based on the square foot of the addition. Okay. If you are doing work inside the building, it's based on a % of the cost that you're planning on spending on that. Okay. Actually, the city of Wauwatosa, all of our permits are issued electronically. So you can apply for the permits, submit your plans, plan reviews, all done electronically online. There's actually a permit fee estimator tool right on there. So you could go on the city's website and you could see, type in the type of work that you're doing, or take a look through those menus, and then give an estimate for how much your permit would cost. Okay,
sounds pretty user-friendly. So, I mean, like if I'm doing a kitchen remodel and I think it's, I don't know, $125,000, it'll spit out approximately what that
correct.
permit will be.
Yep, you can go in there and use that estimator tool.
Got it. What about just, again, sticking, like, I feel like when I was talking to people when they were not pulling a permit, or considering not pulling. It was like a half bath, or like even like my bathroom, my kid's bathroom at home. We haven't done anything, but like, and I can barely swing a hammer, so I'm not doing it. But like, to me, it doesn't seem like that much work, and I could see how somebody like me might consider not pulling a permit for like a bath. Like, what does that cost? Just so to kind of like in my mind, oh man, that's I might have to pay 4 times or 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I believe that
ballpark.
Believe that it's 1.5% of the cost of construction.
Got it. 1.5% of cost of construction.
But yeah, I'd really have to double check that.
No, oh yeah, no worry. Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot. Well, Paul, hey, this has been awesome to hear so far. If we can, can you stick around for one more episode? I got so many more questions to ask. We kind of stuck on the realtor and, basic renovation stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Be happy to continue the conversation.
All right, let's do it. All right, so this has been the Snod Pod with John Snodgrass, where we're talking real estate, mortgages, building inspections with Paul Wolfgramm, and beyond. Stick around for another episode.